Welcome to Heart Home Community's most recent Baldwinsville Community Update. I'm your host, Shelley Hoffman. We hope you enjoy the show and find it very informative. Hey everybody, this is Shelley Hoffman, and I am here with our mayor in the Village of Baldwinsville, Dick Clarke, for our weekly update. How are you doing today, Mr. Mayor?
Well, not too bad, other than some technical issues that we're talking about computers not working the way they're supposed to sometimes, and I'm not in love with that white stuff that's falling out there.
It's so pretty, though. Isn't it pretty? Just pretty.
Actually, I mean, I've talked about it with a lot of people. You know we're going to get it. We'll quit complaining.
Yes.
The only sad part is I originally had my SU basketball sweatshirt ready to go. Now their game tonight's been canceled because of Louisville's got a positive virus guy. So, they threw on a Baldwinsville basketball sweatshirt from the old coaching days. And, basically everything's going pretty good. I mean, we muddle along. And at this time of year for Linda and I, it was always pretty quiet anyways, with the flu season and so on. We always stay very close to home. So right now isn't very different. Just to see everybody else is very different, and hearing them complain makes it tougher. But overall, it's pretty good. Good news from the county executive yesterday. The percentage of infection rate is dropping. The number is dropping. It looks like a combination of we've gotten past the holidays. People are getting vaccinated. Maybe a few people are listening to, take it easy. We can get through this, and hopefully we're down to one of the points he made that I thought was interesting, and I wanted to make sure to make it, is through all of this, all the number of people who've been in the hospital, 2,200 people have been discharged as being clear of the virus who went into the hospital with it. So, I know we have in the hundreds of people who have passed, and that's horrible. I mean, I can't, there's no way to justify or say that's okay. But to realize how bad it might have been if we didn't have such good medical facilities in this area. I mean, we're so blessed with all the hospitals, and we're lucky. We live in a pretty good place. We had a friend who needed a ride to get a vaccination over the weekend, and all the public ones that the county provides and so on only work Monday through Friday. So my wife posted something on Facebook, I think on Baldwinsville Helping Baldwinsville, and she got 3 or 4 people said, I'd be glad to take her. So one of them turns out to be, I don't know if it's technically a relative, but it was my cousin's stepdaughter. And she pointed that out to Linda. And Linda said, do you know her? I said, I don't know if I've ever met her. I mean, he passed a few years ago. We didn't hang around a lot together. And so Linda said, well, she sounds like she's very nice. So she hooked her up with our friend. She called up Monday, I guess it was, and she said, what a wonderful person.
Oh,
she said she not only took me to the on center, but she went in with me, even though I told her, you don't have to come in. And she said she was glad she did, because it was hard to fill out the paperwork because she has bad eyesight. And so she helped her with the paperwork. And then on the way home, she said, you need to stop anywhere. And she said, well, I'll be going to Aldi's in a couple of days probably. Or she said, well, I got to go to Aldi's. Why don't I take you? So she took her to Aldi's and she got a few groceries. And she said, she is just the nicest person. And I thought, wow, isn't that wonderful? You take a kind of a stab. You don't really know the person. And now you have a neighbor who thinks we're pretty nice because we hooked her up with somebody who we don't really even, we know by name, sort of. And I sent a message to her mother, who, was married to my cousin. And she said she wasn't surprised. Her daughter is such a giving person and that type of stuff. I said, so those are the kind of stuff. I mean, I get goosebumps to think about it. You've heard 100 of them. I've heard 100 of them. It's just so nice to know that we have wonderful people around to look out for other people. And that's what it's all about. I mean,
it is. And you're right. We both have heard a ton of stories over the course of our lives, especially during this last year. But just to add another story, it just, I don't know, it's uplifting. Like you said, you get goosebumps. It's nice because sometimes stories go the other way. And I don't know about you, but I'm not hearing as many stories that go the other way. I'm hearing a lot more of the ones that bring joy and kindness and stuff to the world. So thanks. That was a good story to share with everybody this morning.
Yeah, and I think the hard part too is we're almost at an exhaustion point, and so you start expecting when you ask for help for people that people are going to just ignore you because, hey, I've helped so many people, I got nothing left.
Yeah.
I'm tired, and people jumped. They were there ready to go, and it makes you feel good, and because we feel bad, and we're trying to isolate ourselves a little bit, and so we would have taken her, and it just feel kind of bad that we had to ask somebody else to do it, but if we had to, that was a nice result. And so hats off to Casey, who came through for us, and I'm trying to think if there's anything else. There was been a couple announcements from the state. Good announcement for our restaurants last week that they could go to 10 people per table and up the maximum amount of people they could have in a restaurant at any one time. So I'm sure that our local restaurants are thrilled that they can have, I think it went from 33% to 50%, and you can have more than 4 people at a table, which is kind of cool if a bunch of friends want to get together or a big family wants to get together. So, slow steps, but hopefully this is the kind of thing that will help our businesses just hang in there until things get back to normal. Ryan McMahon had said yesterday that the governor had okayed advancing, what was it? Hospitality workers, restaurant servers, taxi drivers, some of those kind of people to get ahead of the people in line because they're exposed. And he said, I'm not ready because right now, like about 2% of the people are getting the appointments when they call in for them. I mean, just go on Facebook and read the stories about they opened up 800 shots and within 2 minutes, all the appointments were filled. Can you imagine if you're just a little slow dialing and at 3 minutes you get told all 800 are gone? So people are getting frustrated, and I understand that. And it's out of our control. It's out of the county's control. They can only give the shots that they get the vaccine for. Somewhere along the way, we've had some snafus, and it's too bad. But people were on Facebook yesterday were a little frustrated and nice. But he's not giving those people extra, allowing extra people to get in line ahead of people. I mean, I hear people saying, I know people who are physically challenged and need to get their shots. It's like, well, you need, especially if you're a senior, call one of whatever your local senior center is. Our senior center has been helping people get appointments. Ruth said they had 80 or 90 people got signed up last week through the senior center.
Oh, good.
And I'm guessing that if you're in Cicero or Clay or Fayetteville, your senior center has some of the same setup. Call them and find out. And if not, call the county and ask what's the best way to get a senior with underlying issues in line. And I understand there's people that aren't seniors. They need to get a hold of somebody who can speak for them. I mean, I think in Baldwinsville, if we had that situation, there's people. If they spoke up, there would be people who would make calls for them and get them signed up. Trying to think if I just keep going through here looking at notes. I didn't have any particular order. We've been working hard. We have to have, by tomorrow, a pandemic health plan, operating plan in place for the village should we get struck again with a huge healthcare crisis similar to COVID, or it could be COVID again. So with the help of each department, we've come up with ways to, how are we going to decide who's essential? We did that. Splitting people so they're not working at the same time so that people who do the same jobs aren't working together and both getting sick, and less people in offices. We don't have some of the issues that some businesses have. We have, basically, if everybody is in our village offices, not including the police department, it's like 7 people, spread out over 3 different offices. So it's not like we've got 25 people in a room and we're trying to cut that down, but we still are. We put up some barriers, plastic barriers and stuff. Excuse me. So this plan was mandated by the governor. Has to be in place by April 1st. So it's with the help of the chief and with Maureen Butler, clerk's office, come up with a pretty good plan. All the departments submitted what they thought would work for them, and everybody did a great job. So that's ready to go. Remind people that there is help. The 211 number comes into play a little more as people get stuck inside longer. I was listening to I think it was Good Morning America yesterday, and they had Tony Bennett on, and it's just been released that he has Alzheimer's, and they're convinced that it got worse because of being quarantined by COVID.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
And so we got to be careful. We got a lot of people who maybe not have Alzheimer's, but have other issues that the longer they're inside without people around them,
right, it's going to get worse.
It's going to get worse. So that please call 211 and they'll find you some help. I'm getting all cloggy here. Let's see what else. Codes has been working hard. They've had a couple meetings on the new project down by the Kinney's Plaza, turning that parking garage. It's a nice looking plan. They've had a planning board meeting and an architectural review board. The architectural review board signed off on it as okay. We've got to go back to the planning board next month, and if they see what they like or like what they see, things will get done and the plan will go through.
That would be nice, because I don't know if you know, I was just talking to Mary Francis from the town of Van Buren, and they had all kinds of updates for me. So she said that I could throw it out to you and say, what's the village got? Because she brought Taco Bell to the table, Mayor. I got to be honest. There's a chance Taco Bell.
We've been going every week. We spread ours out a little bit. But I'm happy for, it's good. I'm good. There's good news like that. I didn't get to only saw a couple minutes today. I did watch some of the chief and talking about the mental health services that we're going to employ with the police department. And it's what people were asking for.
Yes.
Back when they first were talking about defunding police, and that's a word that just drives me nuts, because if you defund, you take money away from them. And that means you're going to have less police. And my argument is better police, not less police. Let's make them better, teach them the right way, which we do, and which a lot of other departments do. I talked to the town of Camillus police chief, Tom Wynn, who's an old friend. I said, how are you doing with that? He said, it's been recognized that everything that they're asking for, we already do. We can do it a little bit better maybe, but we're not reinventing the wheel here. It's just, there's some departments that don't do that. And we're fortunate in this area that they all work together. So there's a lot of commonality there. I did get some good news from Canton Woods. Despite what's going on and the fact that their doors are closed, nothing's going on inside, they are very busy. Ruth wanted me to remind people, seniors, that the on list is available to pre-register. You get on that list, and then when they know they got 30 available, they have a lottery and they take 30 out of the list and start whacking down the list. And the number is 679-4099. And again, if any of these things have to do with seniors, if you don't get the number or you dial it wrong, call the senior center and they'll help you. You also can call the New York COVID hotline. That's good thing I don't have a singing performance tonight. There is a New York COVID hotline, 833-697-4829. there's help for seniors. And again, the senior center will help you get them, or they'll help you get signed up. Mammography clinic is next Thursday at Canton Woods, 464-2582 to sign up for a mammography where you don't have to go in the city. It's going to be right at Canton Woods. Couple of nice little things going on. They're going to have a Valentine's Day drive-up celebration on Friday the 12th at 2 o'clock. So seniors can drive by and get a little Valentine treat to warm your heart. That's the way Ruth wrote it. And they had a very nice one at Christmas time. Had a lot of little handmade Christmas decorations and some peppermint sticks and that kind of stuff. So if you were looking for a little something to do the Friday before Valentine's, 2 o'clock, stop at the Senior Center.
Okay.
Zoom, they're going to try bingo by Zoom.
Oh.
So that'll be interesting. So you got to call the Senior Center. They're going to do it on the 9th, which is next Tuesday, I believe. Mm-hmm. So if you want to do it, you probably got to get a card ahead of time. And then instead of looking at people's faces, you'll get to see their cards. And then they'll call out a number and they'll watch you mark your card. And then you'll say bingo. And I'm guessing they'll get you whatever prize it is that you won. So that I hope people take advantage of that. I know, again, a lot of people don't have Zoom capability, but those that do, I know that one of the couples that comes on our down memory lane, they went when the bingo was in the building. They went every time and actually won 2 or 3 times. You know, I think they won $5 but they were thrilled to get out of the house. I'd seen the way it was set up, and they were quite a ways away from each other. So, they had masks on, they're waving to their friends, and that little things like that get you through for a while. They're also going to have March 4th. It's a little ways down the road, but not too far. It's only a month away. Senior Fair in the Bag drive-by event. And you'll get a bunch of fun stuff. And any local merchants or service providers who would like to add to the senior bag, you can call Ruth at the Senior Center. That's 638-4532. So they usually have like a health fair. I don't know if it's this time of year, but I think it might be. So that now I'm guessing you'll get, like a memo pad from some health group and a pen from another group, and maybe hand sanitizer, little thing of hand sanitizer. Everybody will throw them all in the bag, and you drive by and you'll get it. So it's a nice treat, breaks up the monotony, and gives the people at the Senior Center a chance to see some of their seniors, see them face to face. I don't know when we're going to open up the Senior Center, but numbers are getting better. So if it stays that way and the numbers get lower and lower, then, we'll go to the county and say, your call. We did it before under your rules and it went fine. So I'm hoping that that's not too far down the road and give people something look forward to. Our snowplow guys have been out. I hope people in the village have noticed them. And I repeat, there are roads that don't get plowed as well. And when we check on them, they aren't in the village. We've gotten a couple calls. Our street didn't get done as good as some of the other streets. And where do you live? And it's outside the village. So not a knock on anybody else. We have a smaller area to do than the towns do or the state. And we focus, and obviously our guys take a lot of pride in keeping the streets clean. And, the snow has been kind of steady, but it hasn't been huge. We haven't gotten, knock on wood, 18 inches in 2 hours or something. It's been kind of spread out. And a lot of times you see the trucks go down and they don't have their plow down. They're just spreading salt because the word is overnight it's going to get colder, and they're hoping to be ahead of it. If you have a problem, call the DPW office and let them know your street didn't get done. Occasionally we get phone calls that people get a little extra snow in their driveway. A lot of times it's because they're located in a spot where they're turning around, and when they come around, that driveway may get snow drop off the plow. It's not intentional. Cul-de-sacs are tough because you can't keep going through. You have to turn. and you can't keep all the snow hanging on the plow. So I haven't heard any complaints. I talk to Chuck regularly. One of the things that we had a Zoom conference with NICOM on how mayors were handling the pandemic, and one of the things I said to him was try to keep in touch with our department heads, somewhat regular. I mean, the courts aren't open. I send them an email every week, every 10 days, just to see if there's anything new. But I check with Mo or whoever's in the office. I check with the DPW. I check with the police. I check with Canton Woods, and just to make sure if there is a problem, maybe we can catch it before it gets too far. And I hope that our people that are watching, particularly seniors, but anybody, if you feel like you have a problem, don't know how to deal with it, call. Call the Village Hall. They'll give me your number. I'll call you back. Call Canton Woods if you're a senior. They'll get back to you if they're not there, if they're on another line or something. There's always somebody to help. Call Shelley. She'll set you up on a Zoom and interview.
You can join the mayor and I next week on our talk if you.
That's right. Somebody may have a budding broadcasting career, and you may open the door for them. And again, thankfully we have your vehicle. We have Pack B. Things like that to get the message out. Somebody the other day was saying to me, I'm disappointed in the messenger, that it's not what it used to be. I said, well, what they've done is they don't have as many people working, and they're taking, there's a good story in the Liverpool one and we'll put it in the Baldwinsville one to fill it up, because normally they'd have 2 or 3 pages of sports. Currently they don't. Now sports is supposed to start Monday.
Yes.
I think basketball, sports like that are supposed to start Monday. We'll see how that goes. As a reminder, in speaking about sports and Pack B, I've noticed on Facebook that they've had a request for anybody who wants to tape sports.
Yeah.
And so that could be a parent. If you go to the games anyways, you go to your son or daughter's basketball game and you tape them for posterity, so that when they have kids, they can watch their parent when they were a kid play ball. Maybe you can work out something with Pack B and do it all in one, and then give them a copy, and they can run it, because they're not fussy. Even if you don't have a play-by-play person, just up and down the court, show the scoreboard once in a while. It would offer something exciting for people to watch. I'm guessing people would watch it who don't even care about sports, but it'd be something a lot, new. And
people are watching us for crying out loud. They probably rather see somebody running up and down.
That's true. That's true. I used to run up and down the court, but that wasn't very exciting either. But things I hear from people that people are more positive than I expected right now. Tough time, but again, it's disappointing there's no basketball game tonight. I think people kind of pace their week around some of those things.
Yeah.
You can watch NCIS and some, but even that wasn't on live last night. It was a tape, a rerun. I think they don't have as many shows. They used to have 28 episodes, and because of the COVID, they got started late, so maybe they only got 24. So they're taking some breaks in the middle where they have a week where they don't have it. So the good TV shows are on. That's one thing, but basketball is live. You get excited. It's your team. The Super Bowl this week. Hopefully people, cook up something nice at home and have a little special dinner while they're watching the Super Bowl. I've heard that some of the big companies are not buying, those $1 million ads. They're spending their money on other, supporting local small businesses in areas, which is kind of nice to hear. Budweiser, Coca-Cola, Pepsi. I think a couple, maybe one of the insurance companies, and those kind of things. Instead of spending $6 million for 30 seconds, they'll spend $6 million to support small businesses in some of the big cities in the country. I think that's a great decision.
That is, yes.
I can live without 1 or 2 cute commercials, and as much, it's funny, my wife and I, over the years, I would watch the game, and when there was a break, I'd go to the bathroom, and she'd sit down and watch the commercials. And then I'd come out, and or she'd be in the other room, and she'd have it on mute. And when she saw the commercial come on, she'd flip on the sound. So everybody, something for everybody.
Yep.
And I hope people are getting through this the best they can. And we want to help. If you call 911, if you're having any kind of a issue. Somebody said the other day, well, this would be an awful time to have your furnace go out. I said, well, call somebody. Don't just, if you know somebody, don't have them sit home freezing. I mean, I can't fix it, but I can probably make a phone call and try to see if I can find somebody that would come, or, 911 might help, or the senior center, if it's a senior, we'll get you some help. I mean, there's people out there willing to help. We found that out. And the last thing we want is somebody to get really sick because they were afraid to pick up the telephone and make a phone call. So that's, the good news is that people are available. And I think the stuff at the senior center, I give hats off to Ruth and Joni for really coming up with some different stuff. I think the Zoom bingo, I might even join up and play that, and just for fun and to see who's there, to be part of it. I think the Valentine's giveaway is cute. Little things. Again, we say a lot. I mean, you're with your kids and stuff. There's you can't do the big spectacular things. And you have pizza and wings, and everybody loves it, and you're happy, and life couldn't be any better for an hour or so. So
no,
that's all I got.
You hit the nail on the head with that. Taylor turned 16 on Monday, and, trying to figure out when this friend's in quarantine, this friend's, unfortunately somebody that she knows. And so you have the restrictions to be safe, to be healthy, the kids that are in your pod that you go to school with, the quarantines, the rotation. So she's making the best of it. She's got a great attitude. I know, when you had your birthday, you had the drive, the parade went through. It looked like you had a great time with that. So
I had a ball.
Yeah, going back, people are being positive because we're making the best of it. I did want to mention, when you were talking about Chuck and those guys, is this morning I thought for sure I came in 45 minutes earlier thinking that I'd have to shovel, this much snow out the front of my door. And when I pulled up, not only did they do the sidewalk, which they always do, they did the entrance ways to the doors were done as well. So that literally probably thank you guys. That made my complete morning that I shoveled out a listing this morning, and it wasn't too bad, but I thought, all right, I did that. My house is going to get snow plowed later and snow blowed later when my snow blower comes, but now I got to go do 12 Oswego. And it's the little things like that to have that done, to be part of the village, and, for them to take that time, not just mine, but where Baker Real Estate is, and, Tony next door, the barber, the whole sidewalk. The snow was still coming down on it, but it was all walkable. You weren't trucking into anything. So that is very much appreciated, I know, from us down in the business district.
I'm not busting your bubble because I know, but they do that for all the businesses, not just you.
Are you sure? Are you sure? Because I thought for sure it was just me. No, okay.
No, yeah, well, they did like the tree up on the roof, I think. And I guess we have another new business that opened up.
Which new business?
The dog grooming.
Yes.
Daycare type thing, right next to Atlantic Seafood. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's nice. Nice to know people are. I mean, that's a pretty big gamble at this time of life, with the COVID and stuff. And it's nice to know people are taking a shot. And hopefully people will respond. A friend of my wife's, I think a high school friend, daughter opened one up over in North Syracuse, and it's like, you and I don't live as good as those animals do when they're there. I mean, she had, it's like a palace. There's a swimming pool for the dogs. She takes in birds and cats, but the dogs, they have playtime, and somebody that's working there will get down on the floor and curl up with a dog and hug them, and you can watch your dog. They have a video set up so that while you're at work, you can go on your computer and look and see your dog running around, playing with other dogs. It's like, when we were kids, we weren't abused, but we didn't get taken care of that well. My mother would just say, go somewhere, go to the other part of the house.
Because it's right in the Village for the people that don't know. It's right on the main street, and I have a dog that spends a lot of time home alone. So that I was actually going to inquire and see what they had to offer, because the girls can walk Spencer to that location, where the other ones I would have had to drive or figure out the time restraints and stuff. But yeah, I did see that, and that's been sitting vacant for a little while. I talked to the owner of that business, or the owner of that building. We talked about different things that could go in. And when I walk past, it's bright, it's colorful. It makes you want to walk in the door. I don't know if you've seen her marketing and her logos and the colors that she has out there, but yeah. So again, I'm saying her, but good for whomever just opened that business. So I'm excited to check it out.
It is a bit of a gamble because people are home more now.
Yeah.
I mean, like you could be working from home more than you do. I mean, other people are.
Yeah.
And so their dog is sitting next to them, curled up. They getting all the attention that they ever could want. But I'm assuming that that's going to change some fairly soon. I mean, there's some businesses that work fine from home. Yours is a tough one to do from home. I mean, you can sit there and, okay, turn left, you'll notice the bathroom.
Open the shower curtain, see if there's any film or buildup.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's so much nicer for you to say, now here's the game room that I was telling you about on the phone. And, so some businesses don't do quite as well with virtual stuff. I mean, you can still do. I mean, I know you were doing some of that, but again, it's like they do that with cars. I mean, how do you buy a car if you don't sit in it and see what it feels like? I mean, you can say that's beautiful, I love it, but I've gone and looked at cars when Linda and I would go looking, and you sit in it and go, this just doesn't feel. I mean, I feel kind of like I'm locked into something. That's not going to work. If you buy it over the Zoom, you get home and now you're feeling like, oh, I'm stuck with this for 4 years or something. I'm happy when people are taking shots, and the business there on the Kinney's Plaza, that could be 4 new businesses eventually, and more reason when the weather gets nice for people to come to Baldwinsville and walk around the village and see what's we have to offer, and give our restaurants a boost, and more people want to buy homes in this village. Could be a good thing. So
we have Matthew Fleming, who's made a couple comments during the course of ours, but he did just say, he said you need to get some cough drops. So just so you know, that was his medical advice for you. And then also, but Zoom card games is a possibility. I'm assuming going back to the Zoom bingo, chess, checkers, those things, I guess people are playing on a Zoom as well. And Mary Frances did say to tell you hi, because I told her when I hung out with her, I was going to chat with you. So
yeah, we worked together when I was first on the board with the cable stuff. We negotiated with Time Warner, and we negotiated with Verizon. So we were the representatives from our 2 municipalities. So I got to know her pretty good. She's very good. She knows what's going on. So she's a good one for you to talk with.
Yeah.
And we do have our meeting tomorrow night, supposedly with the county people on the sewer situation. I know there was a bit of a setback with a legal decision about. There's some concern that if the county owns the sewers and municipalities want to build like a new housing development, that you no longer own the sewer, so you have to go to the county for to hook up to their sewer, and they may decide too much growth in your area, we're not going to let you hook up, and they've kind of taken away the chance to arbitrate that, and saying that would totally be in the rights of the county to do that. And so some people are a little concerned that, not so much in the village because we're pretty well built out. There's not a whole lot of places to build new developments.
No, but I was talking to Bob Wicks this week and Mary Frances about, potential development in both the towns. So that is something to think about as they're meeting with the county about the sewers as well.
Yep. And, some people have worse sewers than others. And I know Claude Sykes had said that there's our old sewers, and he would be very happy for the county to take them over. Others don't feel that push quite as strong, but I think everybody understands that this is something that's probably good for everybody in the long run.
Yeah.
It's just that we have a pretty big chunk of our financial structure invested in the sewer side of things, and it's going to just change. We're going to go be a little lopsided for a while till we can get things straightened back and moved into the different areas because we're going to be spending a lot of the same money. We don't really spend a ton of money on sewers per se because ours don't. Again, knock on wood, we haven't had a huge issue, so that we're prepared. I mean, we have the money there because when sewers disintegrate or whatever they do, it's expensive. I mean, it's not a $20,000 fix. Usually it's like $300,000, $400,000 because you have to tear up streets. Some of the sewers are very, very deep. You have to bring in outside people because you don't have equipment that, buckets that can reach down and scoop that deep. And you have to bring in the big boys, and it gets very expensive. So we've always been prepared for that. And so it'll take a little changing of our focus on where we put things in the budget and so on. But hopefully that'll get done tomorrow night. And I know that the county approved the contract lease arrangement yesterday, finally. They had not approved it just because some people on the legislature had some questions and they wanted to delay it a couple months. So that's been approved. And we'll see what they have to say tomorrow night. So.
Perfect. Well, I'm sure you'll tell us next week how that all came down. So, all right, sir. Well, if that's all you have for today, I guess we will part ways and enjoy the beautiful view of the snow because I'm sure you're probably not going out. I'm heading out to Drivers Village, so I'm hoping that the plow guys that do so well here in Baldwinsville, it continues as I make that truck out to other parts of our area. But
yeah, hopefully the snow didn't just hit. It's they've had a chance to get trucks out everywhere, but my street looks pretty good. They went down not too long ago. So I hope everybody can enjoy the looks of the snow. And, again, I posted something on Facebook. We're less than 50 days till spring. I mean, it sounds crazy, but it's really about 5 weeks.
Yeah.
6 weeks till spring.
And we had a slow start with the snow. I mean, we had some beautiful weather when sometimes the year that I moved here, it snowed December 4th and it did not stop snowing until April. Every day, even if it was just like a centimeter of snow. Because I remember thinking, what did I do?
Now, what made you come to Baldwinsville? I mean, was there
well, so we were living in Pittsburgh, and my husband at the time was offered different promotions. We had kind of weighed pros and cons, but he decided to take the one that brought us up to Syracuse. And then we said, this isn't interesting for anybody that doesn't know the area that well yet, but we said we wanted to be 20 minutes from where he worked. And in Pittsburgh, 20 minutes kind of isolated you to certain areas. Yeah, not here. 20 minutes from Liverpool. We looked at Fayetteville, Manlius. We looked at Baldwinsville. We looked at Cicero. Pretty much anywhere. We could have lived a ton of places. So the real estate agent we were working with at the time said, you got to narrow down your area. Once you narrow down your area, then, which is something I say now that I'm in the industry. But so we did. Sure. So we narrowed it down to Baldwinsville. And then from Baldwinsville, we ended up finding a house that we only lived in for 4 months and decided we didn't like that house and moved to another one. So when I say I've moved 14 times, it's not always because I changed areas. Sometimes I just changed properties, but I love it. I've been here ever since, and I couldn't imagine living anywhere else in Central New York. So I'm glad
good for us. Good for us.
All right, sir. Well, enjoy your snow day, and I will talk with you soon.
Okay, Shelley. Be good.